Welcome to part two of WrestleTalk, the problems with wrestling. We left off with the NXT and what could come and what could very well possibly not come from this product, considering it's such a sellout. I mean, we've done this before. We've done um, Diva searches, we've done Tough Enough, and they've all bombed because WWE doesn't do anything in this regard right. Um, like I said in the first part, where are all these guys going to go? All of these guys are going to expect to be pushed. And unless you plan on making three super groups or weeding out the guys you already have, where are you going to put them? And that's an even bigger thing. You already have guys that are sitting in the locker room and getting paid for it. Why not push some of the guys that have been with you for a while? Like, push Big Show a little more, who has more than 10 years under his belt. You just throw a world championship to Kane after 10 years, and more like him conceding that he understands he very well may never win the title. Like, use people that you have. You have plenty of them. Why are you recruiting these many people? You don't need 14 new guys. You have 14 guys that you're not using. The Brooklyn Brawler was paid for years up until recently just a job to other people. But he sat in the locker room most of the time. You're going to do that, continue to do this, but also scout for new talent. That's more money than brains right there because I'd be pushing the guys I already had. Guys that have been with me that want to be pushed. Not the not the newer type that everybody thinks they're a champion overnight. Use the guys that have been with you a while. Show them that no, you didn't forget about them. Or 5 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe there wasn't a storyline for you, but hey, we've been working on this and maybe this will work for you. There's a lot of different things you can do, a lot of different things they can do, and they're not. And it's just annoying. Getting back into bigger topic, let's talk about Chris Benoit for a minute. Um, you'll notice on my Facebook, facebook.com/CWE Company, I made a note of this a couple months ago, but I'll bring it up in this now. Why does 22 years worth of wrestling not matter? Just because of a personal tragedy. Like, I'm not condoning what he did, but what he did had nothing to do with his wrestling. And lately it's nice to see that they've smartened up with that a little bit, where they just keep him out of the physical cover of DVDs. But I hear on recent releases he is in matches. He shouldn't have been pulled from WWE On Demand. You shouldn't have apologized for that Raw tribute because it was a tribute to his career, not to the mass murder of him of his family. I mean, let's be serious. What he did had nothing to do, outside of the steroids, had nothing to do with the time that he put in. Countless promoters, including Vince for years, as one of his top stars, made money off of this man, and all of this was gravy. Vince finds himself in this pinch where he might have to get on TV and explain himself. So the easy thing for WWE to do is, let's forget about it. Let's pretend like he never existed. That makes sense. That would make me want to work hard for Vince, knowing that he could turn around and shelf me anytime he wanted to. And that's another thing, Vince. Spend the money, show your guys that you want them to stick around by giving them some kind of guarantees with medical coverage and watching the steroids thing a little better. You're not untouchable. And you do have to answer these questions. We do expect answers as fans. We do. We pay for this product just to see you beat around the bush every time something goes wrong. You give promoters you're a professional promoter at the top of the game, but you're at the lowest on the totem pole when it comes to respect because you run from every confrontation. For a man who's made his money on taking the smaller guy out and innovating wrestling, you're a coward. Stop it. These guys deserve a little more than a bunch of money and a contract of what they can and cannot do. Show them that you want them around a little longer for a while and that you're going to take the necessary steps to make wrestling as safe as possible. It can be staged. It can be safe. You can have all the dramatic effect that you had in the past. Just watch out for them. That's all they're asking. There wouldn't be talks of a union in wrestling if, when they, like I said, when they came in, they didn't know off the bat. It's like a football player, more or less, but you exploit these men so much deeper than that, like you can't even compare it to football. All the bystanders want is for you to say, hey, I'm going to start caring a little bit more about my workers, and they're not just meal tickets. Chris Benoit made money for you for years, and you treated him like you didn't know him. And it's a coward's way out. 22 years of wrestling should not have been erased because Vincent Kennedy McMahon said it should be. It doesn't work like that. If he would have known that 22 years ago, I bet your ass he wouldn't have come to work for you. You sold him out. He did what he did. Yeah, it was a tragedy, but you sold him out. And what bothers me more is you had no problem doing it. No problem at all. It's easier for you. And this is why. Because if you actually insured these guys, gave them some kind of medical guarantee that I'm going to try and make it as safe as possible, but yes, you understand the risks, it would be so much easier. But then that would mean that you couldn't get rid of them like you like to get rid of them, where 1 week WWE announces the release of one person that maybe last week was doing fine. You like this thing where you can cut them and run away from them. After they've given you, most of them, after they've given you the best parts of their professional careers. And then, no, you mean nothing. Go away. I've made my money off of you. I can't use you anymore. It's ignorant. And it makes the smaller promoters look bad. And when your dweeb of an announcer, Michael Cole, calls independents the minor leagues, it basically says to every independent wrestler trying, you have talent scouts for a reason. The wrestling should matter, and it doesn't. Anybody's good on a microphone or a camera if given enough practice. These guys go to work for years to train just to more or less be told their wrestling doesn't matter. Can you sell a Slim Jim? Can you sell this? How can I make money off of you today? Stand by them. They work for you. It doesn't have to be so cut and dry that when Vince gets tired of you, he cuts you. Like I said, not excusing the tragedy, not defending it in any way, shape, or form. Just saying that some of the most incredible matches came from Chris Benoit, and you couldn't get rid of him or forget about him fast enough. Like Owen Hart. Everybody stop talking about Owen. You make amends with Brett. You're a contradiction, Vince. And you make the rest of us look bad. We got to get off this topic because you disgust me as a human being. And then you have what he did to Daniel Bryan, which seems to go hand in hand with what I was just talking about. Let's take an independent star, make him think that he's hit the big time, exploit him for a couple of weeks, and then send him back home. And then, oh crap, SummerSlam doesn't have a seventh member. Or the feedback that you fucked up came back at you and you brought him back. Yeah, it was a nice edge. Some people seen it coming. Daniel Bryan comes out as the seventh member to create the conflict between the Nexus. It worked and it worked beautifully. But you shouldn't have shit canned him and basically spit in his face before you asked him to come back and work for you, because his product actually sold. He knows what he's doing. He's a great professional wrestler. You've seen that at SummerSlam. It's not minor leagues, Vince. It's where you scout for your next up and coming. And when you're not exploiting 7 guys on another excuse for a television program, maybe your guys can sit back in the independents and look a little closer. You wouldn't need to have these 7 people, but only one will get the contract. I mean, maybe I'm the one that's retarded. Maybe I don't get it. Little self-respect goes a long way. That's all I gotta say. And then there is why the Attitude Era worked and where this will wrap up. Attitude was so successful because, like I said, it had a nice balance of everything. Now you have TNA that will leave you in the middle of the match not knowing what the hell's going on and just say goodnight and it blacks out. You have dumb storylines because Vince's creative team has run out of ideas. You have gimmicks from the Attitude Era being thrown at random wrestlers and they're expected to work with it. Why? Because you have no fresh ideas because you bought them all. Use some of them. You bought these people out for a reason, and now you just want us to sit back and buy and watch whatever you throw on TV, and it's not worth it anymore if this is going to be what you have to deliver. You're not entertaining anyone. If I wanted to listen to people talk, I could go anywhere. I want wrestling. We want wrestling. Like, let's be honest here. Stop with the crap. You have a great mind. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, you proved it. You put on some of the best storylines and feuds people wanted to follow. What changed? Did you stop caring that much? Because if you did, tell us. That's all, Vince. Be straight up with people. Stop fucking lying to everybody. Oh, this is for the fans. This is for the fans. No, it's for Vince McMahon. And as far as TNA is concerned, that goes for you too, Dixie Carter, and you too, Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo. Fucking get it together. We're what sells your product, where your money comes from, and you treat us like we're retarded. We're not. That Raw before the elimination, where we had to be explained how an elimination worked, that was like Raw for retards. Like, we had to be walked through an elimination process. Get real. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, again, this was just a pilot. We hope that you enjoyed. We do intend to spruce it up. This was just to put the product out there. Please feel free to let me know what you think directly at cwecompany@gmail.com, right here on the page itself, or our Facebook and Twitter pages. Thank you, and good night.